just got to say, you've always been very, very gracious with your time with us. I really appreciate it, man. I really do.
All good, man. Thank you.
Get more light in here. So how are you? Everything good?
Everything's good, man. Blessed day today, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good day for hip hop. If you saw the halftime show.
Oh, what? On a basketball or football game?
No. So the Super Bowl this year in February or next year in February, they just announced it's in LA at the new SoFi Stadium. But Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar are the halftime show.
Wow, they trying to get people back on the football, huh?
Yeah, but I'll take it though. It's a win for hip hop. You know what I mean?
That's
right.
Right.
But
it is, man. That's powerful, man. I'm glad. Better than the verses, another verses.
Yeah, the verses, they're entertaining as things opened up. I think they, it's fun to watch, but once COVID kind of stopped and it became like a thing, it didn't seem as unique as when it like first started because everybody was stuck. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So
Correct. I agree. I don't like when they look plastic and extra. It was cool for cats to come together and give people some entertainment and, do a showcase back and forth. But, it's become something else now, man.
It's a concert now.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to see the Kanye and Drake personally. I think that would be dope. I think Drake would surprise cats. You know what I'm saying? With his catalog.
Yeah, you know what? Drake charts when he drops a song. You know what I'm saying? He regardless. Drake is incredibly talented. You know what I mean? And one thing about Drake is he appeals to kind of both crowds, if you will. He can get some of the older cats that are hip hop heads and this and that, and they're like, "Oh, that's dope." And then of course the younger kids come with it. And there's not too many people that can do that dynamic right now.
That's right. And plus he rules his region. There's nobody else in Canada that's even come close to his level in Mar. I mean, at once it was Cardinal Official who was running up there, and lyrically, but Drake has surpassed us with hits and lyrics. Whatever his writing team is doing and his production team, it's work. He's Lex Luthor now, man. It's crazy.
What I'm curious. I don't know if there's an answer to this, but even with the young sound that he has, what does he have that some of these other young cats don't? Even though they're on, the all the littles and this and that, they still don't have that Drake appeal.
He has the woman. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing with LL. No matter how dope Cannabis or anybody who's coming at him, ODs back in the days, anybody, the woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's always been that.
And even Pac back in the day said, he was like, shit, if the women are gonna buy the records and the men are gonna buy what the women buy. So
you're right. That's right.
Well, first and foremost, welcome to What's the Word podcast. Again, I appreciate you, always taking the time. Again, you've always been so gracious with your time and your point of view and your thoughts, and it's just been a blessing throughout this media tenure that I've been doing. So definitely thank you so much. I'm excited. Look, the videos, the songs that I heard that Todd sent me, it's very exciting time. Now, look, you've always had a direction, obviously, socially, economically, politically, ear to the streets as well, and this and that. So you're doing what you've been doing, since the beginning. But this year and everything you talk about is almost even more relevant than any of the years when you, in any of the years that you had done it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I lost my camera right there. So, talk to me about the new records and the new project, because this is very exciting, and especially to hear some. I've been blessed to hear some of it, so it's definitely exciting. But let's talk about some of this new project.
Well, we basically, for the 30th anniversary of our team, we've been in this since the 90s. And then when I disbanded from the original horsemen that we had, Professor X, Architect, Sugar Shaft, two of my brothers passing, one still surviving, still making moves in the industry. I had to recreate what my crew was. I created projects around the Dark Sun Riders in the mid 90s. And I chose to bring both houses together. What people failed to understand was that X-Clan was created by myself and Sugar Shaft first. You know, it wasn't you know, Professor X making the clan. People do a lot of comic book thing. I was talking about that on Killer Priest podcast.
Which I enjoyed that episode very much, by the way.
Oh,
great conversation. That was a great episode.
Thank you, man. And you know what people, you know, our younger generation, very hype into comic books and animation and stuff. They just immediately Professor X, and he made the X-Clan, and the X-Clan was just this.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So you know, I chose to bring all houses together and present X-Clan Millennium Cypher, which was a combination of houses, and I did that on Suburban Noise Records. Early 2000s, mid 2000s, and I stayed with them for a number of years, learning the suburban circuit and so on. But, you know, all these years collecting, you know, new relationships, new production, you know, relationships. So one of them relationships was Sir Jinx. You know, I've known him since I got to Cali. I got to Cali like 98, 99.
Good brother too.
Yeah, indeed. That's my man. So, you know, everybody was going through their thing. You know, some people you work with that you don't do work with. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Me and Jinx would come together, you know, consulting each other on different projects, but we finally decided to do one together. And it'll have various production from different producers from his camp and my camp. But just really bringing hip hop back together and not separating it into conscious and gangster, just to really just make good music. So we wanted to do that along with the 30th anniversary catalog. Some of that stuff that I was sending you is from past catalogs. So Prison, Speak the Truth with KRS.
The KRS One track is phenomenal.
Jake One did that track. So I always was rocking with Jake One's tracks out here. So he definitely was a solid element on that. You know, I work with the R, I work with DJ Slip, Touch Tone, and just go out of some historical producers that I always want to work with. So I've never stopped that. You know, that put me from having to go back to the machines and so on. I could just really now focus on the themes and remixing, you know, some of the music that people know as our classic material. I just wish to update it and give a director's cut on that for this year and the upcoming time frame that we're blessed with. So it's 2 projects, 30th anniversary X-Clan, and the search.
And congratulations on 30 years of excellence, by the way.
Oh, thank you, my brother, man.
You know, it's ironic though, because if you think about, say, a political track back then is just labeled political, and you got to really, you know, be into it to know what somebody's talking about. And especially with technology, normal people are seeing politics and political issues in their face a lot more than back then. So a political track is almost like a everyday track now. You know, people are a little more aware.
Yeah, because they're angry, you know, and my thing has been like, why weren't you angry years ago?
I agree.
You know, and, you know, as everybody was on party time, and then now you're up against the wall. You know, there's so many different issues right now. You know, survival is imbalanced, and now everybody want to be, I'm positive now, or stand up for this now, and, you know, let me give you a holiday now, and all kind of foolishness. You know, we should have been had documents like Ice Cube was presenting, and, you know, schools like, you know, Umar was trying to build or doing now. You know, different people who have been doing these efforts. These things should have been happening. You know, we consume more sneakers and foolishness and chains and jewelry and stuff, and never get to the reality until it's like life-threatening. You know, something just comes down the pipe that it's like, the last days, what you gonna do now, you know? So,
I mean, with somebody like Ice Cube, if he would have done that, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if he would have done that, say, years ago, would he have been somewhat blackballed from the success that he has now if he would have started some of that back then?
How are you going to be blackballed when you got the paper already?
No, that's true.
You got the bread. You know, what is it to be blackballed? You know what I'm saying? You know, you're protected by the West. You know, I don't think he would have had an issue. You know, my thing was not to be on the political clock. You know, when I spoke about Ice Cube in the document, I thought it was intelligent. But this is something that you build 4 years ago before the new president gets in place.
Yeah.
This is thing where you're having, conversations during that time, and then people can really see the climate of who they're choosing when they refuse something like that, or even entertain the conversation. So they could have weeded out like, oh shit, Trump put some money toward, reparations or rebuilding or whatever case may be, or Biden or whoever the hell is in office. It's all bullshit positions, but the thing is, we have to find the silver lining, as citizens. You know what I'm saying? No matter what color you are, you have to find the silver lining to say, well, at least my family's straight, my job is straight, and I can do A, B, and C with the business and continue to survive and not be too much of a slave in this United States of America,
Yeah.
So,
and I agree with you. I tell you what, I was sitting here at the house on January 6th, right? And I was watching what happened at the White House, and I was extremely angry, right? And I was like, so a little bit of my history, I was primarily raised with Black families growing up. I'd been to some group homes and stuff like that, and I thought about it, and most of my family's, Black and this and that. And I'm like, if that would have been my family up there, there probably would have been a bunch of dead people, right? Just facts. And I was angry. I was super angry to where I came here, I wrote a song. I literally dropped it on SoundCloud that day and called it Privilege and just explained it, right? But it sparked a thought with me that I said, you know what? As being white, but being angry about a situation like this, I think I've been on the sidelines for too fucking long. And I filled out to run in 2022 here in my district in the Van Nuys to start city council and start speaking about these things. And I felt bad that I didn't do this a while ago. I'm 40 years old now.
Yes,
I should have been talking about this when I was 30, when I was 25.
Right.
But
that's the foods are planted for that kind of thing. They've been planning this. This is not brand new. You're right.
Yeah. And and my point is, like you said, it should have been done 4 years before I should have already been in a situation where people are hearing me, not just when this happened. And I think that's important in music too. And that's why I've always, had so much respect for what you talk about, is because you've never hid anything or how you felt and found success from it though. You've that's not easy to do.
No, I mean, especially at that time, I think we were really under the radar. I don't think they really expected us to move because people weren't talking about the type of topics that we were and being able to dance at the club to that kind of message. You know what I'm saying? So, songs like Funkin' Lesson and Heed the Word that still spin to this day, and other parts of the catalog, people are rocking and being like, damn, they go home and listen or purchase it and be like, wow, there's a lot of information. And I said, this is how freedom of speech should be used. I would be terrible as a preacher or something like that, standing behind a pulpit and just doing whatever. But when I get that beat, logged in with me, I know exactly what to do. I know where my gift lies, and I was hoping that would be a blueprint for more writing like that. But it's easy to be stupid. And you can't, in this game, convenience is always the top seller. And anything you do in music, whatever, is convenient that you can just write 20 songs a day instead of 3 solid compositions. That would be timeless. They would rather have 20 songs to say, let's just keep throwing and seeing what sticks on the wall. People should be insulted. Yeah. That they would accept your trash rather than something that you would put as a piece of art. You know what I'm saying? They should be insulted, and now when you look at rap and you look at top 5 right now, you got to say, well, is this the result of all our years? You know what I'm saying? A stripper, a goblin, a hustler, whatever the hell is on the shit right now. It's like, people who didn't really give into the craft like a lot of people have done. You know what I'm saying? So by this time, if we haven't done like those people who rushed to Capitol, we should have been raining on these radio stations and climbing the walls and and
no, I feel you on that.
Real shit. You know what I'm saying? The country politically usually reflects what we're going through in music. It's slave trade, the slave game on both sides of the scale for people whose eyes are open. So, for them not to get it, I'm just like, where's the mind at right now? Where's the focus? I'm baffled.
So how do you think we, and I don't even know if this has an answer, but okay, everything moves so fast, especially with technology, right? So even a single is a single for 1 or 2 weeks, and now they want to hear something else. But just in the whole, retrospect of how do we slow down, I guess, the mentality? I don't know if that's the right word, or just so they can hear the information. Because right now, everything's moving so fast. It's like people don't sit down to hear information in music anymore. They're not really listening to lyrics. So how do we slow it down for them to hear it?
Well, I mean, you can't tell people when to listen to stuff. You can give a person a book, but you can't tell them read this at 7, look at this at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
We can't. Our next generations have been developed at a pace like computers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where they're constantly accepting data, and you can't. You as an artist, you can't feed that pace. You got to be the person that says, today is meditation. All right, it's time to watch the leaf in the water and sit still for a minute and not be, as an artist, you can't be scared to deliver something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying, like, if you're used to bouncing and wilding and you want to make a little Drake dance and all of that stuff, well, it's not here. But there's other styles of dance here. There's African dance, there's this kind of dance, whatever kind of dance. Be able to offer something more than the words and the beats. All right, that's where we slow down the pace. So, when they asked me to do this X-Clan project, I said, I've been holding projects for years. I can throw out 3 albums right now. I don't even have to write right now. But, the thing was, I didn't want to go and put rhythm and beats because, the medicine that has to be applied is deeper than that now. That might have helped to crack the mold back then, like, bam, here it is, unfiltered. But now, you got to have several things around your project if you don't want to, sell out to commercial situations, man. So, I think instead of trying to worry about what the millennial generation is doing, I think we should really be focusing on having a project with several things around it. Where do you give to as far as your causes? Mm-hmm. When you throw events, what kind of audience are you attracting? You got to start defining, because everybody ain't everybody. You know what I'm saying? You go to a show, people just trying to look at your blueprint and flip it backwards and present it in a negative fashion. I've seen this a million times. You know what I'm saying? When they come and see conscious artists performing, super creative, and they'll take it and say, well, I'm going to put the flip coin on that and talk about exact opposite and win more than the artist that originated the situation. So I said, look, you got to change the pace of how you're delivering your stuff and make it so signature that if anybody wants to bite you, they have to become positive in nature. You know what I'm saying? Bigger than words, bigger than whatever. It's like, man, that person does so much for the people that he spit into. I can't hope to dip in there and just bite his style or bite whatever case may be. So we got to become bigger. If we're talking about being a solid artist. So if you come out with Turntable and the DJ 10 years ago, it's time to come out with the full band. It's time to come out with bigger sound. If you sampling from the 90s and you stuck in that era, you need to come out of that and learn how to play on a higher scale, because the drum kits and everything are different now. Everything has upgraded. All right. So you got to deliver the power of the medicine that they're, the power of the poison that they're receiving with a more powerful medicine. That's my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's absolutely amazing what you just said. And it blew my mind when it came down to it. And you said, you just got to be so authentic that they can't flip it and do something. I mean, that's incredible. And it's absolute fact. And here's the essence of art.
Yes.
It is almost exactly that. It just happens to be this definition at this moment.
Yes, because you remember our era, it's hard for me to go back and say I'm a bite De La Soul. All right? Because these were likable production masters.
Yeah.
So I can't go back and say I'm a bite them. I can't go back and bite Slick Rick. What am I do? Start talking English or whatever? These people had presence and character beyond the wax and the vinyl that we were purchasing and so on. Now it's so oversaturated. Cats come out, they real name, and they just like the last one, the beats sound exactly the same across the whole board. Nobody's even digging in the crates to say, yo, I gotta be different. That was a battle in itself to be like, I'm not gonna, if I flip a break that you did, I'm gonna touch it a little different. So
Yeah.
like Microphone Fiend versus a Grand Verbalizer. I don't step on Rakim's toes. I didn't bite him by choosing that beat. He didn't make that break beat. I say he got his flavor and I have mine. And now both songs can play in the stream and everybody have their respect. But these dudes now, they'll rhyme on the same beat track all the way across, same topics, same everything.
Producers lease beats.
Correct.
You can go on a website and lease a beat that's 100 other people might have leased as well.
Correct. And
that's just a small thing of what you're talking about. Correct. I completely agree.
Correct. And that's a great point. You shouldn't be able to lease a beat out to 100 people and then wonder who's gonna crack. There's no originality in that. Y'all are no better than them challenges that they put on. And everybody be pouring water on their head and shit different ways.
Oh,
it's ridiculous.
My daughter just came home last week and she said, and my son actually said, and there's like a Tik Tok prank now where they're stealing the soap dispensers at the schools.
Oh my God. They so
like cool. In the bathrooms. And that's like a thing. And they film themselves doing it on TikTok.
Crazy, bro. People are bored, man. It's to a point of psycho right now, bro. And it really was a challenge for me to really agree to even put out music or this documentary or anything. But I think that if people really saw our journey for real, I think they would kind of double think what's happening right now. I just want to do my part in that place. I want them to see how sincere I was back in those days, trying to be in a movement. I wasn't trying to make records. I didn't make records until after 2 years in the movement already, earning rank and building my manhood. Then I was able to present myself as a mature 17, 18-year-old who was ready to speak, beyond himself. What 17, 18-year-old is worried about justice in the streets and so on. We had a gang there.
Yeah.
In a young movement. So, I wanted to give salute to my people by dropping that. I didn't want to just drop an album like, hey, I'm still here. I don't have anything to prove lyrically to anything in this game, so especially when it's so poo butt right now. Who would I be trying to prove something to? I flipping my tongue fast and all of that kind of shit. I have powerful information to deliver. I have years in my wisdom, man, that I can see things from a different angle. So, I now am happy, and I'm happy that I get to work with people that I've always wanted to work with in such a timely, in such a timely position right now. I need powerful music and composition and ideas. You think about, as I was mentioning Jinx, how he painted a strong picture when you were listening to almost like it was like a movie on a cassette. You know what I'm saying? He had a very powerful post-production original style to his situation. So you think like 20, 25 years later, what would he be doing? And that would be a question to his fan base. And then, oh shit, you with Brother Jay now. It's different. So we're not going to hear bang, bang, shoot him up, whatever it is. Jinx has been through Q from gangbanger to positive and so on, this, I'm giving him an artist that's like, I don't straddle the fence and I don't rock back and forth. I've always been what I'm going to be, and if we can find the best parts of ourselves to put together, then I'll move forward. I was inspired by Premier and Royce bringing their worlds together. Yeah. And I said, wow, they both deserve each other. When I heard the Prime project, and I said, you know what? I need to find a producer that has that kind of notoriety and fame and so on, and talent and respect of the craft at the same time. I got a lot of producers, but if I just said, hey, I'm coming out with Billy Wink or something, it's like,
of course,
Billy Wink? The game is that you got to have a little name fashion on your get down when you show up to the party sometime to get the attention. And then once they got you, then you can say, oh, my socks are by someone that you don't know,
of course.
Somebody, so I play the game. I don't come in here trying to be like, yo, my producers are number one and you got to hear this. Now I'll be like, yo, let me put out one of the classic brothers that has inspired the culture, a game changer. And that started building my little super group, I'm just interested in just putting the conscious on the map in the right way. I don't agree with this woke community or any of this foolishness. You know, they take terminologies that we use as conscious people and twist it to make it whatever the industry will accept. You know, there's some things that you just don't play with. And
sometimes it's just for a hashtag. I mean,
correct. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing that. I see a lot of foolishness happening. You know, just because you put on these symbols and beads and stuff, it doesn't change your character. You got to be a good person all the time. You know, you got to really give a fuck all the time. And I don't see that.
Yeah.
People are distracted, rocking 4 or 5 different personalities.
And that's not saying bad to people that finally see it and be like, I get it. And you know what? I am mad. It's the part-time, like, okay, it's hot right now, so I guess I'm woke right now. But you know, next week I'm doing a TikTok dance and you know, or
correct.
Because some people eventually are going to get fed up and be like, you know what, I you know, and they may have been not paying attention to anything the last 5 years or 6, but now they're like, you know what, this is unacceptable, and I think I'm ready, even though I didn't know I was, you know, type of shit. I am seeing a little bit of that. You know,
I hear more lyrical situations, but like I said, this is after the riches. This
of course.
Is after, you know, the 1,000 shows and all of that. You don't absorb so much foolishness. It's now like, now you show up to the party. We could have used that power on the front line before.
I agree.
Young 15-year-old girls and 8-year-old boys is twerking in class. And, you know, y'all are acting like strippers and pimps and hoes and shit at such a young age, from the lingo to the dress. And then you're now going to take it to the next level, gender swapping and all kind of stuff. I'm like, look, you know, we was just trying to get freedom correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's get past being a slave. The same reason they can tell you, like, you can't go eat, you can't do this, stay in your house unless you do. Let's go back to those things first before you try to add more distractions to the table. That's all that any elder or any person of wisdom would be saying at this time, to entertain the distractions. Come on.
But man. I mean, that's the key word, though, is distractions. And a lot of the other stuff is put on there so you lose focus of what should be being done.
That is correct.
And that's a time will tell. You know, honestly.
I got tired of waiting. You know, we were waiting for someone to get mad at this music. Hey, man, it's been 10, maybe 15 years now. You know, all the people that you was talking about you hate are now damn near billionaires.
Yeah.
Okay, so you was coming out like, oh, this person is a little raunchy. They're millionaires now. You want to hate on Nicki Minaj? She's $70 million in value. You know, she's a business now. So there is no hate on these people now. They're beyond hate. Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Exactly. You know, it's not about the individuals.
I will say too, what you were talking about, how you speak on records. Well, I grew up, my favorite artists, well, the people that I would really feel like were in pocket and just like so gifted at rapping, like yourselves, it was really like they were talking. Right. I mean, of course they were, you know, in cadence and in rhythm, and it fit, but it was like almost like you could blank out the music.
Yes.
And just stare at, you know, if there was a video or concert and it was like, yo, he's really talking. I noticed that with watching the video.
Right.
I mean, you're just talking. And I'm not saying that lightly, like, oh, he's just, I mean it in a major way, like you're talking.
Yes.
And we do not see a lot of that, you know, anymore.
There's a zone to that. You know, when you're a rhythmic priest, when you can step into the zone and your rhyme is doing this, but your zone is doing this.
Yeah.
Your head. It's different. And that's why I say it's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going in and building for my lower self, I'm not going to experience that same zone. Okay.
Correct,
The combination of the ride and the content rocking together, that's a whole different beast. And it does sound like the person's talking directly to your cerebral, you know what I'm saying? Directly to your soul and spirit and connecting. That's a harmony that can't, you know, there's only a few, you know what I'm saying? And I'm interested in finding the few. I'm interested in helping to develop the few in any generation. I don't have a wall on my thing. You know, all I'm doing is setting the blueprint to be like, this is how dope it can be. Now set my project as like a bar and pass it, surpass it, embarrass everything that sounds stupid in the industry to make them go burn their rhyme book and get right.
If they even have a rhyme book.
Correct. If you could read off their iPads and shit, right?
Or if that, I'm an engineer too, and I do some sessions with people that it's like they just want to hear the beat, and they'll go line for line, some auto tune, and they don't write anything down. But again, it's interesting. Earlier today, I was actually interviewing Chip Fu.
Okay,
and,
a good brother.
And obviously this dude flips words like no other this, but he was still talking about stuff. But we were talking about shows and how bad like hip hop shows are now. And I said, but I think that starts from the studio, because they're not even writing their songs when they do it. Right. So when they go do the show, they don't really have their song memorized. It wasn't memorized when they recorded it.
Correct. And that is a strange ride, robotic ride. You notice everything is trying to gear us into becoming cyborgs. And the teachers of artificial intelligence. So the way the music sounds now, it sounds like a data transfer rather than the speaking that you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? They've totally digitized us to a point where now the auto-tune, the space flow that they're doing, it's all like you're teaching a robot.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I tell cats, my problem with the new generation is that they're not learning from analog into digital. You know what I'm saying? Understand that now you can make a beat in your watch, and you can do whatever in your iPad, whatever it is. But when you go back to the analog to learn where it came from, you'll have a different sense of creativity coming from one place to the other. But when you use the cheat sheet, you know what I'm saying? Like if I was trying to become a DJ and I never touched any vinyl, I'm just like, well, I plugged my USB in and rubbed the little CDJ. You've missed a whole era of journey, knowledge, communication with other DJs that have been, some of the stories that you get when you start pulling vinyl with a DJ is some of the deepest lessons that you'll ever learn in your life.
Yeah.
And because y'all missed that, you go straight from the iWatch phone making the beat to trying to be the most successful cat on YouTube.
Yeah.
You skip a whole lot of class. That's my only problem. It's not the creativity. You can only do what you're capable of doing. If you want to sound stupid like that, and that's how you want to be judged, I can't stand with you. I feel intelligence has so many different platforms. You know what I'm saying? Why just choose the same thing that everyone, why be a clone?
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree. And you said that's kind of your only problem, but there's a multitude of problems with that one.
Yes.
You know what I mean? First off, too, with true analog, and you make it digital, even a WAV file, you make it MP3, you're taking a 50 megabyte song and make it MP3. Now it's 5 megabytes. You're actually missing frequencies that resonate in your body and send off endorphins to make you feel a certain way.
That is
those frequencies aren't there, first off. And one thing I hate is that with hip hop is really when you only see this, because if you go to independent artists that does rock or ska or punk or heavy metal, they know what guitar strings used, Jimmy Page used in 1972 at Madison Square Garden, and what head, Cabby used, and this and that. And they're getting all that knowledge from day one.
Correct. And those bands become immortalized.
Yeah.
Okay. If I was to do something with a Pearl Jam or any of those cats who work from the garage, learning the analog, building up, Lenny Kravitz. You know why I like Lenny Kravitz? Because he was using all those tube instruments. He really sounded like Woodstock, but it was elevated in EQ to present. So that power was so monstrous. So I said, yo, man, in hip hop, all of the break cats, instead of just being cheap and just sampling something and saying, yo, this is my contribution, learn how to produce another layer around that.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Learn how to talk to the business of the music and say, well, I don't want to be raped because I want to use a popular sample, but if you use it creative wise, or even play it over and give respect to the creator of the project to say, yo, man, I respect you, Bob James, so much that I took this and I'm so influenced. I want to create the 2021 version of your shit. Yep. And they should be honored if you're talking wise on it. They're so forced to take a check when people sample their music as elders. It's not even continuing what their vision was when they made it. You know what I'm saying?
That's even if they own the masters, though, too. Correct. You gotta
That's a whole other basket, bro. So there's lessons in that, from business to music. When you go and you say, let me go and do the real side of the business, and you go and say, well, damn, that dude doesn't even own his masters. I should put myself in a position to make sure whatever I create, that I'll earn mine. If you don't go back and study, you won't find out where you're getting jerked at. You know what I'm saying? So they're missing those lessons. How many artists do we know that were shut down quietly after they got sued for sampling and trying to hide and cover samples? From Biz, God bless, Naughty by Nature, even Janet Jackson. These cats were sampling Substitution, break beats, putting it under, and thinking that, I'll put my pretty shit all over it and just go ahead up. No, you got to pay those. You got to pay those dues. You got to pay those dues. So we should be creating our own breaks. I'm surprised that cats didn't do, what's the brother who rocks with Ali? Adrian. He did the Luke Cage. Adrian Young.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I love the fact that he became the source of the break beat. Mm-hmm. Okay. Your band sounds like something that I would put on my platter and wait for the sweet spot and take something from. But you still have enough power to back a feature film or series or whatever case may be. That template for boom bap hip hop would be advanced boom bap hip hop. And that's where cats can't come bite you. Okay? Yeah. Because you working. It's not like you just took the break and said, oh, here's the sweet spot. Anybody can find the sweet spot. But for you to be able to doctor that and make that a monstrous production, that's a whole different basket. And I salute those brothers. That project that they did for that Luke Cage was off the wall. The wall. Real shit. And
I mean, technology is so good though. Like even as a producer, you could take those, I'd say this all the time. My first drum machine I got was the SP1200. Yes, there was a second of sample time on there. That's what I mean? And you had to be precise and, do it. But now, man, I can chop up a break beat and make my own break beat just off of the sounds, if you have the rhythm and this and that, and then make that sound however I want now that I have it. You know what I mean? There's so many options right now. And again, to kind of second on what I was saying, there's so much information out there. And even going back to listen to analog people or whatever it is, why wouldn't you to be better? What is this mentality that people think that they're masters of their craft already and they've really done no knowledge on it? They're just doing what is acceptable and gets by. And Correct. That's what I see a lot.
Yes. And because it's two different intentions. When you were learning the SP1200, you weren't saying to yourself, I want to be a star. I want to be a star. I want to be a star. You just wanted to make sure that the dope frequency was coming back at you that was in your head. They don't have that. Okay. Their thing is, I'm going to do what he does better than him, and I'm going to be a star tomorrow. So if I get 100 hits or 500 hits and thumbs up in my head, I'm a star. That's a lame ass goal in life. You know what I'm saying? Flimsy ass thumbs up on your shit. You should be forming a business around yourself and really seeing if you're a quality musician that can add on to the stream instead of putting more slop and making it oversaturated where you can't even enjoy. You don't even know what to pick. When I go and say, well, what's happening? What's popping now? And they start naming 20 artists that I never heard of in my life. And I said, well, that's not how you filter out who's the best. You know what I'm saying? Who are the players? If we were at a ballpark in the hood, I would say who out here is qualified to be in the NBA. So it wouldn't be like, oh, he's nice. Who's qualified to be in the NBA? Who's qualified to really be signed? You feel what I'm saying?
And also the difference is too, I think I read something, 100,000 artists a day release music on like iTunes or whatever, Spotify or whatever. So imagine there's basketball tryouts every day and there's 100,000 people there. How the hell are you going to find the ones that are qualified, right? Correct. You have to get past the 999,999, you know what I mean? Ones before that. Brother.
Correct. And there's only 300 slots to play in the NBA. But yeah, we got 100,000 people a day. At some point, somebody don't really have it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Somebody don't really have it, and we're fooling them and just saying, oh, that's nice. And then they say, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. And now the labels love it because when they sign someone, everybody's in awe, like, oh, you know, you didn't have to play down here with us, so you must be the one. Let me copy and imitate everything that you do.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a manufactured role model at this point. Okay. So whatever reasons the label got you, it may not be because you're the best. It may be because you're the most easy to say, do this, do that, do this. You're the step and fetch it. You know what I'm saying? This is
absolute facts
now. Real shit.
No, I had a good friend. I mean, this brother plays drums, plays piano, sings, raps, can engineer his own music. He got a couple of songs on some Xbox and PlayStation games, and he put himself on his own tour. He literally went from Maine to California, rocked one-man shows with an acoustic and playing the drums with his feet. I mean, this brother's super talented, right?
Wow.
Had a meeting with the label. Great songs. I mean, these songs made Xbox games.
Yes.
His Instagram following wasn't enough. And I'm like, did they really listen to the music? And he was like, I didn't even get a chance to play anything. But it was a big meeting to see if they were going to sign. They weren't worried about the music. They were worried about how it was going to look. But do you think also too, with these kids thinking they stars already, because now they have so much access to artists as well? Say an artist goes live. He's in a studio. You see some plaques in the background. He's on Instagram Live just talking and playing beats. Well, tomorrow night, I'm going to rent a studio that has plaques. I'm going to go live and I'm going to play some beats. So now I feel like that artist.
Yes, exactly. And that form of fooling yourself is what the label is looking for. All right. 100,000 cats a day. Somebody's saying, look, 20 of these cats will sign a 360 deal and give me anything for the next 2 years that they create. Every time they fart, I own it.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are people desperate enough to sell themselves like that all day long. So that's where we have to get in the way, because now we're finding out the errors of our generation now in this era. We're finding out all of the foolishness that was going down when these deals was getting made. You know, I didn't know cats was blowing other men to get millions of dollars to stay relevant and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, you know, those kind of situations never came my way. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's the kind of man that you are. But I represented people, like you said, the guys playing drums with his feet, his hands and ears and all kind of shit. And, you know, now they put the wall up to say, unless you're popular, you can't get in here. So if you're a beat geek and you don't have any friends, you're antisocial, you'll never get signed. Those cats end up being songwriters.
Yep.
Okay, they end up getting a studio and they say, stay in there and I'll feed you, put money on your table, and they just shut up and comply because they know good and well, I'm not going to go out here, take pictures of my food and my girl and walk my dog to get people to like me in order for me to get a deal. Yeah. I think that's lame as hell. And when, you know, I remember when I was doing the Clan situation, you know, when I reintroduced the Clan in 2003, you know, I was like, you know, I come to the table and I don't assume that anybody would be like, hey, let me just sign you right away. You know, I went to, you know, Independence. I was looking at Stone's Throw and Rhyme Sayers and different brands like that. Like, you know, underground wise, just go ahead and slay. Mm-hmm. And they weren't looking for social media hits. They were looking for you to be consistent, okay, and say, you know, show up, be available. The thing I learned about the West is that if you want to be popular, you got to be available. You got to go to the shows. You got to go to the different concerts. You got to go and be on Hyro Day and rock the bells from back in the days when it was smaller and the all-stars were all performing. You got to be the person that they want to nominate to say, yo, man, yes, you're definitely in the category to be on this stage with the Wu and the Dead Prez and this and that. You know, you got to kind of recharge that. You know, and so I say to legends, don't ride on the fact that everybody knew you from a certain era, the 90s or whatever. Show them that you're still active and your pen is still fire and that you're available to be there to throw a dope ass show. It's still about being dope, man.
Yeah, you know? and you brought up Rhyme Sayers, one MC that I don't think gives enough props, but definitely has a core following is Evidence.
Yes.
And I mean, this dude is still super dope as a producer and an artist.
Right.
He'll still pack a show out, you know, all across the country.
Yes.
But he's antisocial as hell. Like, I know him well. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
but
sir.
He's great to his fans. Don't get me, I'm not saying it in a bad way.
Yes.
But he's so concerned about his craft that he's not like, I need to be he does it really for the fans. I mean, obviously that's his job. That's how he gets paid. You know what I'm saying? But he's extremely dope. And I don't think Evidence to this day has got as much props as he should get.
And this is Evidence of Dilated?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Dilated. And then, obviously now he's done, you know, a lot of solo. But yeah,
I funny you say that. I think that one of the mistakes that they did was working with Kanye.
Oh, for the Live This Way?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that was too poppy for them. You know what I'm saying? I think it kind of, same thing with J5. When they did the song with Dave Matthews, I think it was.
Dave Matthews Band, yep.
Right. It was too much. It was like, why y'all going there? You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when you make a production mistake, it will hit you in the ass differently. It makes your fan things like, yo, are you going away from the original chemistry? We like your collard greens the way that you cook them. We like your macaroni and cheese. You don't have to put no extra sauce on it. In order for us to love you. Look, the underground has a different love and loyalty. And those brothers have done so many shows. That loyalty will never die. Living legends, cats like that people haven't even heard about. These cats are packing up 3,000-4,000 people in the streets of California and shit, special
Project Blowed, all that. The Lamert Park, the Grouch, everybody. Yep.
All of them. And these are people when I brought Clan back. I didn't go back and go and say, well, I know Ice Cube and I know this person and I know Snoop. Let me go get with that. I said, get down in the mud and what it is, and show that you don't have to live in the mud. You know what I'm saying? You build what you're going to build and you elevate and you get to a higher ground and you start building something else and you start and you keep going up gradually in stages. And now you have a hold on your career. Okay. So you go to the grassroots. And the mud becomes grass. You know what I'm saying? And you start planting seeds and you start getting fruit. And then now it's like, well, I got a full garden and people love what I grow here and they come. That's your music now. That's all that creativity, fruits of labor.
Hence organic.
Correct. Organic is what is the point of that whole situation. You have to be organic coming back. You can't skip situations. You're skipping class. You don't have certain elements. And now, on a legend perspective, you have a name that's known that you didn't do the organic steps to ensure your immortality in hip. That's what I think is missing. You know what I'm saying? They're not having those kind of conversations because there's no longer an A&R to have a conversation with.
Yeah. Or artist development or anything of that nature at all.
They've been cut that off. When they cut that out in the 90s, I knew music was doomed from there. I knew.
So what you just said right now about getting in the mud, I'm actually helping somebody do this right now. And this has been amazing to see. So you remember the lynch mob?
Yes, sir.
JD from the lynch mob has been in prison for 28 years.
Yes, sir. He just got
out about 150 days ago. Mm-hmm. And I've been friend with JD for the last 10, 12 years, right? Yes. So when he came out, I said, well, I got studios. I got whatever you need. Let's do this. Now, anytime JD could call Cube and be like, yo, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Yes, sir.
He didn't want to do that. He wanted to come to the roots. He wanted to, to get an EP done. Let's get this done. Let's get some momentum. Don't worry. We'll see Cube. We'll see him. That's my dude. That's my brother.
Correct.
But I need to do me right now.
Correct.
And I'm witnessing this grass grow right now. I'm witnessing this grass grow, and we're working on his EP. I'm producing it, and it's been amazing to see. But having you say that, I just visualize it even more and where we're going to be a year from now, 6 months from now. And it's amazing to see. Yeah,
man. And tell them, from artist to artist, don't ride the same horse you got shot on. You understand? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When you had a bomb career and it had to stop for whatever reason, don't come back and get on the same horse. Change the color of the horse. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? If you've been locked down, you wasn't in there hollering about shooting and killing and whatever the case may be, you should be building on reform. All right. In the most entertaining way possible to say, yo, man, come and enjoy me and not the picture that I can paint around, trauma and death and so on. You know what I'm saying? Do something of reform that's going to get a cat to think. If you're going to do an EP, test the water. You're not going to lose any love that's already yours, man. I hate when people say that, like, yo, if I change my shit, I'm going to lose love. When Snoop turned Snoop Lion, all people had to say was like, oh, you're trying to be dread now, you're trying to do whatever. No, he was trying to see if there was another silver lining in his career where he could say something positive for a minute. And he never lost love, regardless of how people had remarks and all this other shit. You still got awards. You still got all the accolades.
Isn't that the part of being artistic, though? You know what? I want to try something different.
Yes.
Like I'm success, and especially somebody like Snoop, like he's been successful at fucking everything that he's done, right? So it's like, why not? Why can't I try this? I'm a fucking artist.
Correct. I saluted the bravery. All right. For you to say I could never lose my following. And now he's stronger than ever because you showed yourself to have variety and you're not always showing up one way. You're showing that you have spirit in other areas as well. Now we can better like you. All right. But not afraid. And that's where my respect for him comes in. You know what I'm saying?
Regardless though, people follow the wave. So like if he would have done that back in the day when you could only see him on BET videos or a magazine or a pop-up, when he's selling the album, it would be a lot different. If people see too many negative comments, they're going to join that wave and put in their negative comment. They may never even listen to the fucking album. So, but back then we would have heard it because I would buy albums. I remember, I was a big Do or Die fan and people were talking shit about the Crucial Conflict album, but we would go buy the album to be like, well, let me see how bad it is or whatever. And there was some shit the Crucial Conflict had that was dope. I did like Do or Die better, but I did the knowledge enough to form an opinion on like, this is what I didn't like about it. But now that everybody has opinion, social networking wise, if there's 3,000 comments on it and 1,000 of them are negative and you just reading the negative ones, people tend to ride that wave.
Correct. And I think that's an injustice because none of those people are qualified tastemakers. All right.
Absolutely.
Feel me? You can be a consumer, but there's no way for you to be able to judge the craft that you purchase. You purchase off of if it feels good or not.
Yeah. Yep.
So you can't judge an artist who's making an evolution. You know what I'm saying? They would have been wrong about Seal. When Seal first came out back in the days, they thought he was going to be a trance dreadlock dude. So he evolves himself, comes back, cuts all the locks off, and becomes like a Black Sting.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Which totally threw people off. This man had vocal and it wasn't all house music and leather boots and Matrix coats and shit like they thought it was going to be. And he evolved and people hated on him first. And now they got over themselves and now he's an iconic artist. I salute his bravery. Okay. Don't let nobody stop you from evolving. So when these legends come out in this era, they try to go back and say, well, let's do what we was doing then and just change the clothes a little bit and keep the same sound or whatever. No, totally fuck everything up.
Yeah.
And be able to please yourself that you're doing something new because you'll bore yourself trying to extend the era that's dead. That era is dead, bro. Okay? That era is dead. We can go back and play music and reminisce and all of that shit, but all of the stuff that made that era is done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. And as it should though, right? Like it ran its course, right? That's not a bad thing. It ran its course.
That's exactly correct. So the question should be, how can I add to the future of that? And if you can't answer that question, stay quiet and stay at home, period. You don't need to be in this war of music right now because you're not representing it in full. You know what I'm saying? You in the battlefield with a sidearm. We got Uzis and all kind of shit strapped like Contra rolling with a sidearm that you had from back in the days, rusty, not oiled. That's not what's up.
Man, this conversation could go on forever, but the proof is, I do believe, and it always has, but things do come full circle. And it, when it does, it may not be in the aspect exactly how you expected it, but there is parts that be like, okay, this is a little bit what I'm talking about, but things change so fast too. It's like, how long does that full circle, stay there? But technology is going to get better.
Yes.
Things are going to get easier.
Yes.
And, we got to move with the times, which, that doesn't mean you got to change yourself, but you got to stay up with the times for sure. It's going to move without you.
I think if you have enough game changers, bro, you can shift shit around. You can't.
I agree.
Try to change the times with a weak crew or not, or team that's not unified. All right.
Yeah.
The production houses that feel like we're thinking all came together as one and chose the best 5 MCs. You'll start to see change.
Yeah.
All right. Because if I go and say me, you, Sir Jinx Camp, all kind of other camps that believe in the purity of creativity come together and say, okay, boom, now we're going to take all of our audiences and put in front of them the champions. Okay.
Yep.
So there's no participation from the outside. These are tastemakers that you already know and you follow and you trust their situation and you say, yo, I'm gonna follow what y'all talking about. And
they're the Roger and Eberts, right?
Correct. The thumbs up, thumbs down that you respect. That is correct. You put them in the room and they choose, people will respect that. That's the only way that the pace is going to slow down. Now, from that platform, you can dictate, no, they're not going to put out 4 albums in 1 year. They're going to put out one good project. They're going to have quality features. You're not going to be oversaturated with the artists. That's what killed a lot of artists, oversaturating. They never got to enjoy Redman to his full lyrical potential because he has so many singles with everybody.
Yeah.
When it was time for his, they were already like, man, I'm tired. I done heard you here. I done heard you there. And he's one of the top energetic MCs in the
probably
game.
Ever.
Real shit. But it's that you oversaturated yourself by being. So now if you pace it to where it's like, you're not going to get 20 songs on the album. You're going to get 10 super power. And then I'm going to have 5 super power features and I'm going to let you handle me for the year. You can't stop an artist like that from performing because they gave you concentrated dopeness and not spreading themselves too thin.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, bro, we can't follow what these cats have been doing. Lil Wayne can go and throw out 30 mixtapes in a year and still have his audience. Why? Because he rules his region. All right. The entire South follows him. So if everybody in New York said, man, I'm not trying to hear that, he still wins.
Yep.
West Coast artists are like that. Midwest artists are becoming like that.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's getting there.
New York artists lost that. Okay. No one controls the region of New York. It's so divided right now. I didn't even realize how trapped out New York was until I just went back home and said, wow, I didn't know New York to be so one-dimensional. Yeah. That was one place that you could go to and hear all levels of hip hop.
I agree. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous now. For them to be compromised was a serious, red flag in my mental. Like, wow, you can't even come here and break a dope record anymore. You got to sound like whatever they feel money sounds like. And that's a bad call from the major radio, even to the community stations that were the only source for that.
Man, I'm from the West Coast, and I used to be able to tell what borough you were from just by the way you rapped.
Correct. And you can't tell none of that now. No. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell what region these cats are. It's so cloned right now. It's we just have to impress why being a clone is a bad thing. They've accepted it as a way. And I'm saying you lose so much creative juice. You lose so much honesty and truth to what you really are to the game. You may be a dope writer and think that you're a producer or a frontman artist and be fooling yourself and fuck up and put out something dope and blow up. And you were not that, okay? And now you're stuck in a place where you just was playing with demos and somebody accepts you like, yo, I love your house record. You must be a house artist. Please deliver us 5 more house shit. And you was just playing. Like, okay, let's do a house joint. Let's do a jazz joint and let's do this. And then you fucked up and blew up. and you don't even have control of your career. So if you know who you are, you go and say, okay, I know how to do this record as a feature situation, so I won't get pinned to be that. Because once the audience that we speak about that has that one-dimensional mind catches on to you,
of course,
while the stream is moving like this, you no longer have 5 minutes of funk to explain yourself. You got 5 seconds to either drop or you're faded to dust.
But I miss how features used to be though. Like you buy a record, you'd be like, oh shit, look who's on this record.
Correct.
Like this about to be crazy. And to me, features have lost what they were doing. Like it's called a feature. Like this is, and I mean, there's two things I really miss in hip hop. The way features used to feel, when you would buy an album and soundtracks.
Yes.
I loved soundtracks.
Come on. That Snoop Dogg blew up off a Deep Cover. That was one of the main
that was the track.
New York accepted him. Okay. It was off of a soundtrack. You were powerful enough to be on a film's soundtrack.
And hip hop had some great soundtracks. Oh my gosh.
We don't give no props to that. People just look at the groups and if they made a hit or not. Come on, there were some powerful singles out there that was really game-changing singles that they just, and now they don't even reach for those platforms. Cats just try to get on 2K basketball and some other game or whatever, and they feel accomplished because everybody's hearing the rotation. You're not really getting no business.
No.
You're not doing business. You're not learning business. You're just trying to dodge being one of those dudes that got to blow head to be successful and shit. But, a lot of them don't succeed in that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know where that became a part of the game, bro. I'm so disappointed.
I don't know where it changed. I don't know. Look, I do, like, I'm an engineer for a living. So I listen when I'm in my car. I'm always listening to mixes, and I will say I'm guilty of not listening to as much new music as I should, right? But even going through the mid 2000s, up, there were still like, okay, this isn't exactly my favorite, but it's okay. And then it was just, the next thing I turned around, it was just completely different. And I don't quite know when and where that happened, but obviously somewhere down the road where I wasn't paying attention, it did. Well, what I mean?
Internet, period.
Yeah.
The easiest way to put it, internet. It changed everything. It lets you know that, wow, this is a hit in Russia. And I didn't know because people are not traveling. Yeah. All right. So if you're not an artist well-traveled, you don't know what's popular around the world. So now that you got internet, whatever your algorithm allows you to gravitate toward.
Absolutely. That's crazy.
It's where you make your judgment of what music is or isn't. So, you still got a mechanical robotic mind state. Even when you go and turn on your computer and think you're being global, you're being kept in the algorithm.
and you brought up that robot shit. I actually said to my kids, we were watching iRobot, the Will Smith movie not too long ago. That movie's actually scarier. People think it's entertaining. That's actually some scary ass shit.
Yeah, because a lot of that shit has come true now. Like they're actually probably robots like that right now, that you can move around with shit like a buddy and shit. They're getting to that point. We're actually teaching them when we text and when we communicate. We're teaching them. If you can type in your phone and the phone is suggesting words to you, you're teaching it how you talk. So we've already contributed to the AI, the Terminator.
Or hence you look at Air Force Ones or something on Google, and then you go on Facebook, Instagram, and a shoe ad come up.
Correct. So you're being kept in the algorithm and totally programmed at all times. And, that's not a way to be. You got to be well-traveled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, with this COVID thing and everything, it cuts so much touring and so much power of underground artistry because that's where they eat.
Of course.
Yeah, so you can't even go and say, let's go get a festival, get 1,000 people, go make a little bread and entertain folks. You can't even do that, really, without worrying about being canceled or shut down because of a mandate and all of this. They really did a doozy. That's going to really hurt underground hip hop. You're going to see a lot of artists starting to cross over to major brands.
Yeah.
Because now the major brands are going to be like, yo, I've always wanted to sign High Road. I've always wanted to sign this person and that person. And now you're going to give them entry because you want the best of whatever that underground was, because the whole genre is stuck.
Yep. I went to my first concert on Saturday since COVID hit.
Wow. How was it?
Man, it was amazing. It was out here in Cali. It was actually in Norco, so towards the Inland Empire. It was Cypress Hill, Ice Cube, JJ Fad, Too Short, Kid Frost, OT
Great.
Genesis. I missed Exhibit. You know what I mean? It was definitely a West Coast show.
That's a nice blended card. And you find that in the West and anywhere in the world.
It was really good to, even as a person that goes to show, you know, before COVID, I probably went to a show every weekend, you know, but it was so nice to be out and hear live music again.
I know it. I've been hesitant to even do shows. I've been so hard editing this documentary and finishing the project, and I just didn't want to take the chance, you know.
Yeah.
I remember when the brother from Zion 9, before he passed, and I was like, I was going to go to that show, and I didn't go, and so many people got sick at that show. This was like a underground classic in the basement of a building, nice spot, but no windows, no air, no nothing. And these are people who took the idea like, you know, fuck COVID, I'm just going to do whatever, and you risk. You know, regardless of if you catch it with your mask or not or whatever, there's still something in the air. There's still chemicals going down, and you got to respect it. So it's hard for me to plan festivals. It's hard for me to go, because I started creating my own festivals around conscious artists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've been doing Lyrical Shaman Tour for like 7 years up in North Cali in nice, small 200 to 500 capacity spots. You know what I'm saying? And we had to back off of it because we would be putting our audience in battle with each other. Are you vaccinated? Are you not?
Yeah, and actually, I'll give you a perfect example. So another good brother that passed away, Shock G. I actually went with Money B and them to Oakland in August 21st, and they made Digital Underground Day in the city, Oakland, and we had a caravan from Federation Park to City Hall, and we did a show at City Hall, right? But anybody that was like backstage, even though it was outside, they did rapid COVID tests right there. If you're getting in, take a test and we're good. Still got to wear masks, this and that. But you know, it was actually, you know, it wasn't thousands and thousands of people either, but it was actually pretty well organized for what it was. And I was glad we got to celebrate Shock. You know, that was a good brother. He put in a lot of work and deserved it. You know what I'm saying? When I went to this one in Norco, there wasn't nothing. Now, luckily, I'm backstage where people are a little more conscious, and you know, there's only a few of us back there. You know what I mean? And it was outside anyways. But I'm looking, you know, from on the stage, and you know, there's probably 1,000 people there.
Yes, sir.
No mask, no nothing, this and that. And to me, I even thought about it. I'm like, wow, this is the first show in a long time. I wonder what this is going to spark. I mean, I thought about it a few times. And, you know, it's crazy how life has changed, because 2 years ago, we would have never thought of something like that.
You have to think about nothing but get on stage and rock and get off. And now you got to think like, damn, I hope I'm not the reason that people are getting sick, because they want to feel the vibration that we give. Yeah, I mean, it's
tough. It's tough times. And before I let you go, I do got to ask, what has it been like? And again, I know the type of artist you are, but doing a documentary and kind of, you know, stepping behind the camera and you know, post-production and the whole monster of that. How has that been for you?
It's different. You know, you find different talents in yourself when you evolve. And I go at it like I go about writing, you know, to do things, to make sure that I write classic. I make sure that I'm producing classic, that I'm giving information of quality and principle. You know, our journey, I can talk about when I grew up and did this and that. And I said, you know, that's all irrelevant. The principle of our journey was the most important thing. Mm-hmm. So that has helped me while I'm behind the camera and in front of it to say, stay on point, because the attention span is different now. And there are key things that people should be learning rather than just following my story. You should be looking at the principles of where we didn't sell out, what we were standing for, the fact that we were a voice of a movement and not just a rap group that was in the movement. Those things happen.
That's an important distinction too. That's an important distinction.
Yes, it is, brother. Yes, it is. And that's what the documentary is going to be explaining. We were the voice of our elders. Instead of saying, well, my elder told me this, and passing on a story, we continued what they were doing and then transmitted it on a higher platform. If young heads did that with their elder generations, then we would have something that would never be penetrated. There is no selling out when you have an elder saying, yo, man, what are you signing? What are you wearing on your neck? Where did you get that from? When you got an OG that's checking, before you sell your ass to the beast that you talk about you so scared of and so on, then, the game would be different now. Cats would be riding. When they come and do your demo, you got 3 or 4 OGs sitting there, man, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Write that over, man. Go in the back, and write that over if you want to get.
You ain't done yet.
Yeah, exactly. But, the money has allowed them to override, because where we didn't accept sucker deals for money, they did. Okay. And now that they have these deals in place, it's like, hey, man, you mad at me now, elder, because I got the house and the car that you fronted on? No, I'm not mad. You wearing a shackle with a ball on it everywhere you go. And you got both your hands tied and you think that you free. Fooling yourself.
Yeah, it's a crazy dynamic though, homie, because I sometimes see, and I even see brothers with good intentions, right?
Right.
And the longevity of, let's just say, a single doesn't have the longevity of as it once had, right?
Correct.
I mean, a hit is a hit, but we're just talking longevity in retrospect with everything.
Right.
Some of these cats are like, man, this single might not be popping 3 weeks from now. I gotta get this money now, and hopefully I can flip this money to another single. And I'm talking brothers that have really good intentions and not really trying to be or contribute to that beast. But they're like, shit, this might not be popping next week. I got to try to get this money now.
Exactly. And anytime you do anything in rush, it never turns out well, brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Them rushing with that very point you just made has oversaturated the music industry.
I agree.
To where people don't even want to go on. It's like, wow, it's so confusing. I don't even want to be bothered. Let me go listen to some jazz. Let me go listen to some rock. If you notice rock artists, they don't do that. I don't see them.
No, absolutely not.
4 albums in a year. They put 1 album out that should last 2 years strong.
Yeah.
And the production is quality. So these cats will go stand at an abandoned yard, rap at the thing on their iPhone, release the video, and then you doing that 5 more times in the month. You know what I'm saying? Thinking to yourself like, yo, it's not popping enough. I don't see enough thumbs up. And you rushing like a chicken with no head.
Yeah.
And that's
I agree completely. I agree completely.
Yeah, that's not.
I have an EP coming out on my birthday. My birthday is October 24th, and I named it My Beautiful Burden. And it's just kind of everything with music. Like, it's beautiful, but it's a burden too. Like, it's, like you brought up, we have a responsibility. We do. But on one of the songs, I have a line that says, never be complacent, but have the faith to be patient. Nice. And I truly believe that, because it's not telling you don't try to do more, but again, organically take it and do it as it comes to you. Because as you put it out, it's gonna come back. And how you put it out is how it comes back.
That's right, bro. And that's the very key of why we don't really get along in the stream of things with that generation. It's like, yo, there's a patience that you have to have. Yeah. Take your time. Stop trying to hog the whole entire situation when everybody does their part in this thing of hip hop that we have. Mm-hmm. All right. You got your Fugees, you got your Snoop Dogs, you got your whatevers. Everybody can get a piece. But if you constantly look at me, you make it our whole genre look desperate. Yeah. No other music in the game looks as desperate as hip hop, bro.
Oh, and that's why I said earlier, like with these rock kids know who was using what in 1963.
That's right.
It's crazy. And I mean, it's literally, when I say it's crazy, I'm not just using it as a generic word. It's crazy. Why would you not want to know how they did shit? Look, with all these plugins, I got every plugin you can imagine on my computer, even my home studio behind me, right? Right. They're emulations of what rack mounts used to be and this and that. Why wouldn't you want to know what these rack mounts actually used to do? It's going to help you.
It's going to help you. And that's the point that I make. You know, when I develop artists, I bring them back to the old equipment, to the rack mount. So now they can know, oh shit, this is the virtual situation of what I had hard copy, hardware. Now I know the knobs, I know what I'm doing. You're not just twisting and say, oh, that sounds whatever. You know exactly what that app is supposed to do.
Yeah. And then it clicks. Oh my God, I get it. That's why this plugin looks like that.
Correct. And the people who realize that beats sound different.
Yeah.
The ones who don't realize that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So when the labels come, the one who made the beat on a shortcut will sell 30 beats to the label for $5 or some stupid shit, where the person who really knows the science is like, I know what my music is worth. And them standing their ground, they'll lose a deal.
Yeah. Okay? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
100 times in the game. So now the person who took the shortcut says, you talk all of that shit that I got to learn this and that, but my stacks is up and I'm sitting in the mansion. But you're a slave, man.
Yep.
Okay? You're a slave. There's no escaping that. You just sold 20 beats where you could have made a lot more money by just here's 3.
Yep.
Here's 4. Just take your time. You know what I'm saying? You chose to just go do whatever and got nothing for it. And then at the end of the day, you're just playing everywhere and somebody's getting rich off your back.
And not only that, but done that 3 or 4 like 10 times. Not that same 3 or 4, but grouped it out 20 times instead of just 20 once. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this has been amazing. So I'd say, so what's next? Do we have dates of any releases, or everything's just still in motion?
I'll have dates soon.
Okay.
I haven't put any street dates to what we're doing, but definitely before the end of the year, they will see singles. They can check us out at X-Clan Worldwide on Instagram, Facebook for little updates and stuff. I started dropping clips of the documentary, just little stuff on the cutting room floor that weren't going to be in the film, but still had content to let them know exactly what kind of temperature we're working at. So check us out on the X-Clan Worldwide, and just stay tuned, man. We got some powerful shit in store, man.
I can't wait. And next time you come to LA too, you got to come by the spot in Pasadena that we talked about with Todd. We have a beautiful private facility out in Pasadena, so we'll definitely have you. And as the documentary comes and the album, and just we'll definitely connect with you and then talk about some more. Like I said, this could turn into a 10-hour. We could do we should be doing a master class with Brother Jay. That's what we need. We need a Brother Jay master class. You know what I mean? So we appreciate you, obviously, here at What's the Word podcast. Again, I thank you for again, it was like 10 years ago, like 2013. So a little bit less. I think it's the first time I interviewed you. And it was over the phone on Blog Talk. I had a blast, just like I did now. So thank you so much. Any last words, anything I left out that you wanted to say?
Oh, man, I'm just grateful for our conversation, and much success to you and your platform, brother. And I look forward to getting with y'all in LA. And peace to everybody watching, man. Stay tuned for X-Clan, Brother Jay, for the future, man. Definitely.
Absolutely. And this is What's the Word podcast with your host, Dyer Lansky. We'll see you guys next week. This is what we do. Hip hop, do the knowledge. I love y'all. Stay tuned.
Blessings.
Man, respect. I appreciate you so much. I know we kind of went long, but the conversation was amazing, homie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother, man. Anytime.
I will talk to you soon. And I'll make sure Todd gives you my information too. Like I said, when you hit LA, if you need anything, if you need studios, whatever, I got it all. So just let me know.
Thank you, family.
All right, homie. Enjoy your weekend. I'll talk to you soon.
Blessings. Peace.
Peace.
One.